Welcome inside the Acres Broadcast Center. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is your Sports Nightly Ticker. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Happy May the 4th. We have another great show ahead. In hour one, we'll be joined by Jeremiah Searles with his latest scoop as he shares his thoughts on last week's NFL draft and where some of the Huskers landed. Then in hour two, we'll take a trip around the Big Ten and hear from some of the best beat writers in the conference as they recap their respective schools' spring games. Over to the pro sports and the NBA playoffs at 6:30 p.m. The 76ers will be taking on the Heat without Joel Embiid in Game 2 of their Eastern Conference semifinals matchup. Miami currently leads that series 1-0. And out west, it'll be Dallas and Phoenix as the Suns look to pull even. As Dallas looks to pull even with the Suns in Game 2 of that series. Tip-off is set for 9 p.m. In the NHL playoffs, we have 4 Game 2s tonight. The Bruins and Hurricanes are just about set for puck drop. The Hurricanes lead that series 1-0 at 6:30 p.m. Tampa and Toronto will square off in their second game of a best-of-7. Tampa, the reigning champs, will look to bounce back after being shut out in Game 1. The Wild will also look to rebound as they take on the St. Louis Blues after the Blues rolled over the Wild in Game 1. Puck drop in that one is 8:30 p.m. And at 9, the Kings and Oilers are back at it. Thrilling Game 1. Kings took that one, and they'll look to do the same here tonight to try to build a 2-0 lead over Connor McDavid and company. In the MLB today, earlier finals, the Cardinals crushed the Royals 10-0. The Astros beat the Mariners 7-2. The Padres pulled out a nail-biter over the Guardians 5-4. That was a Game 1 of 2 today. In Game 1 of another doubleheader, the Pirates beat the Tigers 3-2. The Braves blasted the Mets 9-2. The Diamondbacks took down the Marlins 8-7. And the Rays beat the A's 3-0. Currently in action in Game 2 of their doubleheader, the Pirates lead the Tigers 4-2 in the 7th. In Game 2 of another doubleheader, the Padres lead the Guardians 3-1 in the 6th. The Rangers and Phillies are scoreless heading to the 2nd. And just getting started, the Twins and Orioles, they are just underway. The Yankees and Blue Jays have their first pitch set for 6:07. And the Angels and Red Sox will get started at 6:10. And later tonight, the Reds and Brewers will square off at 6:40. The Nationals and Rockies play in Colorado at 7:40, and the Giants and Dodgers renew their rivalry out west at 9:10 p.m. That's the ticker. My name's Tim Mulhaupt, and this is Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Schultz has the sign and the pitch. Curveball, that's whacked to left field. That's hit pretty well. Going back is Peterson, and it is gone. Home run, England, who just blasted one out of here, and the Big Red have a 1-0 lead.
Handley brings it in. And Felder swings and lines it to right center field, down for a hit, and it one hops the wall. Ibarra has scored. Andrews scores as Felder slides into second with a 2-run double, and the Huskers have doubled their lead to 4-0 here in the third.
Schultz comes set. Now the 2-1 pitch. That's lifted in the air to right. Drifting back is McFleur. He's to the track. He's to the wall. It is gone. Garrett Anglam's second home run today, and it's a 6-0 Nebraska lead.
Handley's 2-0, and Felder swings and lines it over the glove of the second baseman and all the way to the wall on the ground on a double to right center. Rayleigh has scored. Ibarra scores. It's a second 2-run double of the day for Felder. Nebraska leads it 8-1 in the 4th.
Anglam launches another one to left. Peterson back. He's to the track. He's to the wall. He has done it again. 3-homer day for Garrett Anglam.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome to another night of Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network. Hope you had a good day today. Jessica, may the 4th be with you.
I didn't even think about that until I saw the women's basketball graphics. I'm not a Star Wars person.
I'm not either. I'm not really.
I've never even seen not a single one of the movies.
Really? Not even. Whoa.
Not
there's
one of them.
There were the 3 original ones, and then there's been like 5 since.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen a single one. So
I've seen a couple of them, but
I don't know. So don't throw any quotes. Don't throw any "May the 4th be with you" quotes at me, because I won't know them.
I've heard it all day long on everything that I've seen. ESPN. I had the Today Show on this morning. It's like been all over the place today.
And tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo.
That I've heard of.
Yes, me too.
Now that I know more about that. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people who are into Star Wars, I mean, they could sit here and quote chapter and verse. I cannot do that. I was down at Disney last summer, and they've got a bunch of different Star Wars rides.
Yeah.
Down at the Disney
I've
parks.
probably been on one of those. I've probably been on the rides, but I wouldn't have known what the rides meant when I was on them, just that I was on a Disney ride.
Yeah. You know, the NFL today came out with a couple of games that they're going to play overseas. They're going to play a game in Munich, Germany. I think they're playing 3 in London again. That's kind of been the norm. And then they're going to have one big one in Mexico City where it's going to be the Cardinals and the 49ers. So it's a big matchup there. We have the Huskers heading over to Ireland to play Northwestern here in a few months. How much do you think Europeans really want to get into American football? I don't know that there's a big demand over there for it. Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
I think they do. They just don't play the sport there, so it's not. And the timing, because when I went over there, and then when the group of the Ireland people came over here, they said that just the timing of it is weird because we're playing and they're sleeping, so they can't necessarily always watch it. But they're diehard sports fans, and the NFL has done well in England, so that's why they think that college football will do well in Ireland. But I think they just love any and all sports, and I think they're really excited to see college football. They've had this game there before, but it's been a while with COVID and getting postponed a year ago. So I think the fans there are excited to see something different.
Well, the NFL must sense something because they keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and there's quite a few Americans who live in London, particularly, so they must feel like it's worth it to sell merchandise, do that, because the NFL wouldn't be doing this unless they're getting a return.
Absolutely. I mean, promoting and marketing and trying to become a global brand like the NBA is, right? I mean, the NBA is absolutely global, and the NFL hasn't been because we're the only country really that plays it at this level.
Right.
So, I think they're probably just trying to grow it a little bit, but probably, I don't know. I would imagine that a little bit like how it's at Ireland, it's a big spectacle. It's a big to-do, and so it's going to be, because it's only there once a year, it's just the thing to do, maybe more than maybe trying to get a series there going.
Well, I know you've talked to Nuri about this. He's from Germany, and Munich is going to host the Buccaneers. I think they're playing the Seahawks. That was the matchup announced today. I mean, he probably wasn't exposed much to American football while he was growing up over there, I wouldn't imagine.
No, they didn't really play it much, and I actually could probably pull that interview. He talked to me about it. I mean, he was a soccer player, and they were all in on soccer, but then or football, what they call it, football.
Right, yeah.
But he got burnt out because, I mean, they play soccer and football over there like we play football here. So he got burnt out, and then it was just a very low level, not very high level football by any means. Not very many people played it, and so he played it, but he didn't really know. Nobody knew what they were doing. I mean, he was playing I think a bunch of different positions, and the people that were coaching didn't know what they were teaching them, but he really learned it. So all that being said is they didn't play it much at all, and he was not exposed to it. He was exposed to it when he came here, when he became a foreign exchange student.
I hadn't thought about the time difference because they are 6, in some cases of Europe, 7 hours behind us time-wise. So games here that the NFL kicks off at noon on a Sunday, that's already 7 o'clock at night there.
Yeah.
No way are they watching the primetime games at all. That's in the middle of the evening for them.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. It was like, what was it? It was like midnight when it was like noon here, I think, in Ireland. And so, yeah,
It's just off.
Yeah. It's just if you're watching the 2:30 game or the 11 a.m. game, you might already be in bed. So
yeah, I wondered that today when I saw the NFL make those announcements. Obviously, Mexico City, I think that is a market, and I do think in Mexico, because they are on their central time zone. Most of that country is central time zone. They can match up. They can watch the NFL on a Sunday, the college games on a Saturday.
Well, and I think we've seen, just look at our Spanish broadcasts, that people listen to that. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's a sport that in Mexico is followed or liked. But yeah, I don't know, some of the other countries, just because of they don't have the sport, and then just the time difference, maybe they don't follow it as much. But to me, I would think that this is a push from the NFL to try to gain more exposure on a global level, because they've got the market cornered here in the United States. But how do you grow that you got to go outside the United States borders now.
And they fill it up when they play in London. This will be different this year going to Munich and playing a game in Germany, but they fill it when they go play games in London. But and again, NFL's not going to do something unless it's benefiting them in some way. They're just such a well-run league. They're going to figure it out to how to make as much money as they can off of that. We do have Jeremiah coming up here in a little bit, get his thoughts about the draft that took place over the past weekend. We're talking about all week long that these big college football and conference meetings are going on in Phoenix this week, including some Big Ten meetings that are going on down there this week. On CBSSports.com today, they have a story revolved around Ohio State's athletic director, Gene Smith. And I want your thoughts, Jessica, on this. He is saying that he really believes that the FBS level, the schools who have 85 scholarship athletes playing football, should operate under its own rules and structure, and then let the NCAA oversee basketball and the other sports. Take football away, make it kind of its own thing, and the 120-some schools who play FBS level football would operate under the College Football Playoff Committee and their rules, and he wants to come up with a czar to kind of oversee football in its entity, and he believes that's where we need to be going with this thing. He said he thinks that way they could control maybe more of wayward boosters, pay for play. He thinks they could monitor that better if they just took the 120 schools and kind of put it over here and said, we're going to run that a different way. You like that or not?
I don't know. I don't know if it would provide complications of making sure that you are following Title IX rules because part of the NCAA and being all underneath one umbrella is you are making sure that all of those, but maybe that would be up to the schools to make sure that all of that is being met. But it might make it easier that if you just have one group that's monitoring the beast of college football, but pretty soon college basketball is getting there. The way that we're seeing the portal and guys making money and some of these programs that are, the transfer portal has been crazy for men's basketball too. And so maybe, you start with football, see how that goes. I don't know. It's going to be fascinating to see what they do, how they do it, to try to figure out how to make this better, because absolutely some changes need to be made.
Well, and the NCAA oversees hoops. The NCAA really doesn't oversee the college football playoff. That's its own entity. Right. And I think he just says, let's just go ahead and peel it off and put some people in charge of it who can make some decisions to monitor. We'll let the NCAA monitor hoops and wrestling and baseball and softball and volleyball and all those sports, but we'll monitor and try to be a gatekeeper of college football, because these guys are all seeing this thing slip away from them a little bit right now.
And I think, too, you've got to get people in place of that leadership group, whatever it is. And at the NCAA, too, that have coached or have been on staff, because they're so out of touch at the NCAA. They don't know the inner workings of what it takes to run a college football program and some of the rules and regulations and how they're monitoring it. It's dated, and I think they've got people that don't have a clue what it's actually like to coach a football program.
I feel like the NCAA's kind of done this for the last 2 years. They're like, we don't even want to get involved.
Other than handing down sanctions.
To Nebraska for having a coach on the field too long. So
that everybody does.
Yeah. Bill in Portland, Oregon, listening to us tonight, says, has it been established yet how many Husker fans will be going to Ireland? I haven't heard a solid number. My guess is that it may approach 10,000, 8 to 10,000 over there.
Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't heard numbers, but I think the stadium, what did I say? I think 14,000. I think around 14,000. So, and the thing about it is, the company that's putting it on, they're putting a lot on us and our fans, because Northwestern fans are just not going to travel.
They're not.
So it's going to be primarily dominated by Husker fans.
Yeah. So, Bill, my best guess is 8 to 10,000 Husker fans will make the journey over there. A lot of them are going to go on their own tours and do their things. I know the ticket office here has sold quite a few tickets, but people have gotten them other places as well.
I think it's a good number, 8 to 10.
I think that's about what it'll be. And that'll be great. It'll look fun over there on August 27th. Bill, appreciate it. Thanks for listening out to us out in Portland. All right, coming back, Jeremiah and Jessica have a new podcast that is up. We're going to let you listen in on some of that. Time to tell you to buckle up, put the phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. More of the show coming up.
Searching for a new to-you car, truck, or SUV? Shop Woodhouse first. Over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, all makes, all models, in stock and on the lot. Plus, confidence comes standard when you purchase a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Woodhouse. With our multi-point inspection, transparent pricing, available add-on warranties, and financing options, purchasing a pre-owned vehicle has never been simpler. Experience the difference and drive away confident and road-ready in your new vehicle from Woodhouse.
A tradition of winning doesn't happen overnight. Like any team, you gotta be tough, play smart, and work hard. No one understands this more than Ford Motor Company. They built the best team in the game with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 45 years straight, the iconic Ford Bronco, and the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Shop online at buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer to buy or custom build the perfect truck or SUV for you. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska researchers are designing the next generation of roadside steel barriers through an industry partnership with Trafix Devices. This partnership has produced the Delta Crash Cushion, a simplistic, effective way to keep drivers safe on highways. This barrier is vital for roadside safety and significantly improves the chances motorists will be able to walk away from roadside collisions.
Levitt's first one. And Glatter swings and lets a high fly ball. Left center and deep. It's gone and we're tied. Grand slam Glatter. We're tied at 8. Nebraska softball opens its final regular season series of the year Friday night at Bowlin Stadium against Indiana. Your pregame at 5:20. First pitch at 5:30 on the Huskers Radio Network, Huskers.com, and the official Nebraska Athletics app.
Whether you compete on the court, at the track, on the field, or in the fields, winning isn't just a goal. It's a mindset, shaped, honed, and defined throughout the season. That's why farmers pushing themselves to be the best plant DeKalb brand corn. Wherever you compete, winning has roots. Perform at your best with DeKalb. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Huskers, do you want a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding? Explore the many ways you can be a part of the insurance community. Go to iian.org/careers today. Business insurance is a lot to manage. Did you know a trusted choice independent insurance agent can help guide you through it at no extra cost to you? They'll do your insurance. You just do you. Find out more at trustedchoice.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Levitt's first one. And Glatter swings and lets a high fly ball. Left center and deep. It's gone and we're tied. Grand slam Glatter. We're tied at 8. Nebraska softball opens its final regular season series of the year Friday night at Bowlin Stadium against Indiana. Your pregame at 5:20. First pitch at 5:30 on the Huskers Radio Network, Huskers.com, and the official Nebraska Athletics app.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day by day, donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate.
It's more than a Lincoln, it's your Lincoln. Custom order your next luxury SUV with Woodhouse Lincoln today. Choose from the full range of Lincoln models and curate every detail to your deepest desires. From exterior color down to each accessory, our friendly and knowledgeable sales staff will guide you to your next vehicle. Begin your custom order journey online at woodhouselincoln.com or in-store off 144th and Giles Road.
Nothing goes better with Husker sports than Fairbury. Fairbury, premium quality hot dogs deliver the home game experience to your family and friends. The highest quality beef, pork, and natural spices give you the best tasting hot dog and your hometown favorite Big Red hot dog. Look for Fairbury hot dogs all year long at your local grocery store. Fairbury, the official hot dog of the Huskers and Nebraska fans everywhere.
At Great Western Bank, they are committed to your community. With all the local decisions and personal attention of a hometown community bank, they also have the convenience of a bigger bank. It's the best of both, so you can bank with your neighbors and your friends. Great Western Bank wishes all area teams a safe and successful season. Great Western Bank, member FDIC.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. During the summer of 2021, 3 UNL students helped safeguard cattle across the state. Neely Anderson, Tatiana Jones, and Ashton Commons developed secure beef supply plans that prevent the spread of disease outbreak. The plans protect nearly 850,000 cattle across our state and provide greater economic security for this vital industry.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here on a Wednesday night. Our old pal, our old buddy Jeremiah Searles resurfaced this week. You got a chance to lasso him and talk a little NFL draft.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind of actually since December, 4 or 5 months for Jeremiah, but first draft as an agent in the books. And so we talked about that quite a bit, about the things that he learned being on this side of it that he had no idea, no clue, just being a player. But I definitely wanted to get into his perspective of the Huskers and where they landed and their perspective fits with some of these teams. So we start with, of course, Cam Jurgens. Okay, well, let's talk Huskers. And the first one off the board, as expected, was Cam Jurgens. How perfect is the fit for him in Philly?
You couldn't ask for a better spot. I mean, Philly's been interested on him for a long time. I can tell you that. I've talked to plenty of people over there. You know, and then you see the video come out of Kelsey afterwards saying that he watched tape and he was in part of that. And you go, yep, makes sense. Kelsey and Jurgens are about as comparable as you can be as far as when it comes to what NFL centers in that scheme fit. So I think it's a good fit because Kelsey probably only has maybe 1-2 years left in him. So, you know, Cam doesn't have to come in and start right away. But I think that for him, a year to grow, a year to develop. And again, last year was Cam's first fully healthy year. So he's still learning and growing too. But this is a great position for him to be put in, a chance to contribute, become a starter and a long-time starter in this league.
Yeah, Jason Kelsey, he said that Cam was his favorite player in this entire draft, and that they asked him to help maybe look at a potential center. And he said watching his film, he just loved it. I mean, is it the athleticism? Take me into Jason Kelsey's mind and why he thought why Cam was his favorite player in this draft.
You know, it's easy because Jason Kelsey plays a lot like Cam. You know, I think, or you could say Cam plays like Jason Kelsey, whichever one, it's interchangeable. You know, Kelsey's constantly running downfield. He's so athletic. He's getting out on screens. He's really able to reach these noses, and you kind of compare. Everyone loves the compare game in the NFL draft, right? Like, this guy reminds me of this guy, and those two dudes are like mirrors of each other. And so you talk about it, you look at it, and then you put up Kelsey tape and you put up Jurgens tape, and you're like, yeah, I see why this fits. And so I think Kelsey was looking for a guy that when you're looking and you're retiring and you're lucky enough to be able to say, I'm going to retire in a year, and the game doesn't tell you when you have to retire, you want to leave your team with someone in good hands, right? And so I think through what the Eagles do and how unique Kelsey's skill set has been for them over the course of the last decade, that he wanted to find someone comparable to come in and try and fill those shoes when he eventually does leave. And I think Cam checks a lot of the boxes for him when he watched his tape.
Yeah, this could be completely off, but I was thinking about this too. So Jalen Hurts led the NFL in rushing yards as a quarterback. He ran for more yards than any other quarterback. And who knows what their plan is long term with Jalen Hurts, if they're there together for the whole time. But, you know, I've had conversations with offensive linemen in the past, you know, going back to my days at Oklahoma, when guys have, transitioned from mainly a guy that stands back there and passes to a guy that scrambles, like Baker Mayfield scrambled a lot, and then a guy like Kyler. So then you look at what Cam Jurgens did with Adrian Martinez, who ran a lot and wasn't just, called design run plays all the time for a quarterback. How helpful can that be so that you do have that experience in college protecting a guy that ran the football a lot as a quarterback?
Yeah, it's really good to be able to have that background, especially with the quarterbacks in the NFL moving to a little bit more of a movement quarterback's kind of what people are looking for now, right? The days of the Tom Brady, the Peyton Mannings, and the stand like a statue back there and deliver a ball is kind of phasing out because you're seeing the success that you can have with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, these guys that are athletic enough to move. Well, when that's the case, you have to have offensive linemen that can move around with them. And so Cam does bring that bit of a unique skill set that he can move with the quarterbacks, and he can pull out on, we pop protected him a lot, which means we pulled him from the center position and had him protect the edge on bootlegs or play action. So he brings a lot of movement pieces to it. And with Jalen Hurts being a quarterback that does run around, I think you're right. I think that does mirror his game a little bit better. But I will say this, they need to stop moving Jalen Hurts around so much or the dude's going to die. Every NFL quarterback thinks they can run coming from college until about year 2, year 3, and you get absolutely lit up by a couple of these linebackers and safeties that are 30 years old. And you're like, maybe I'll stay behind the O-lineman instead of run in front of them this time.
All right. Cam Taylor-Britt, next one off the board. In the second round, were you surprised that he went as early as he did? And Cincinnati moving up to go get him.
I was a little bit, but there was a big run of corners happening, right? You saw, from the first top 5 picks, you saw 2 corners go. And so that's the way the NFL works is the draft goes in runs, right? Runs of players where all of a sudden it's like all of a sudden 2, 3 corners start going, and teams that have a corner on their board that they think they can get in the third, they start to panic a little bit, and they're like, oh, he might not be there. We really want him. Let's move up. And I think that's kind of what happened with Cam. And what Cam did this offseason, what Cam did this pre-draft process is he's one of the few big corners that ran fast in this NFL draft, right? There's a lot of long, lanky corners. Cam is a put-together guy. He's not afraid to be physical, and he went down to the Senior Bowl and showed his physicality running through receivers and tackling. And, he does have some things to get tightened up and technique-wise and turning his hips and running with guys and staying with letting not as much separation go. But, I think that the measurables were all there, the tenacity, the off-the-field stuff where the leadership and all that came in, and all that led to him being able to go be a big-time second-rounder for the Bengals. And
he got the call from Zach Taylor, a fellow Husker. I got emotional, Jeremiah. I kind of had some tears, and just seeing what that moment meant to Cam and his family, and he was speechless. Cam Taylor-Britt's never speechless, but then seeing Zach Taylor be congratulated, hey, we got your Husker. As a former Husker yourself, how special was that for you to see?
Yeah, that was pretty dang cool. I think anytime you get the Husker-to-Husker connection, it's always pretty special. And to go somewhere that you have an instant connection with the head coach, too, is pretty neat. And so, I love that moment for Cam and his family. And I'm not going to lie to you, when Zach Taylor called my client in the 4th round and drafted him, I probably was a little bit more emotional than that point. But still pretty cool to have Zach Taylor call Cam Taylor-Britt, and he also called my offensive lineman and drafted him in the 4th. So I got a lot of love for Zach Taylor right now.
Hey, I told you guys back in the playoffs I was getting on that Cincinnati bandwagon for the postseason. I'm staying on there. I'm staying on that because I think that's a fun team to watch.
No doubt. You better believe I'm all aboard the Uday train. I'm all about it.
Okay, so all that aside, how good is this fit for Cam Taylor-Britt in Cincinnati?
It's a really good fit. They need some help in the corner position. They had some guys that got exposed a little bit in the Super Bowl last year, right? And you talk about a team that's close and a team that made a run. They really were able to identify, like, okay, this is what we need. This is the place we can go get it in the draft. And obviously, if they think they need help at corner, then they go draft one in the 2nd round. He's going to be an immediate contributor. You get drafted in the top 2 rounds, you're going to play as a rookie. It's just a matter of how much. So they drafted him with the intention of him being a pushing for a starter, maybe the nickel to start, or maybe pushing for that starting outside corner role too.
How about Samori Toure hearing his name called after everything that he's been through? And I did a feature on him in the in the fall. He was on the junior varsity, the JV team, as a sophomore in high school, was not recruited, didn't have a Power 5 offer, got a partial scholarship offer from Montana, has a great career there, but then comes here for a year, does what he does, and then again does what Samori does. Even though people doubt him, he trusts the process, and he gets his name called. We thought he might be an undrafted free agent and land and still make a team, but hey, getting drafted, that's got to be special for him.
Yeah, and talk about a guy, no combine invite, right? And he had a ton of 30 visits. I was hearing a lot of pre-draft buzz about Toure before the draft. He took so many visits and he tested so well, and I mean, he proved himself at the biggest level in the Big Ten. And so I think that everyone thought he might be that late round drafted pick. And, you know, those 7th rounders are, it's getting close to, do I even want to be drafted? Because sometimes the fit's not great versus as a PFA, priority free agent, you can kind of pick where you want to go. But there's always something to say about having the drafted in front of you, whether it's the 1st or the 7th. It's just helpful. So, you know, I think for him, it's a great fit, and he gets to catch balls from Aaron Rodgers. I mean, how great is that? You talk about one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and you got a lot of developmental receivers up there. I mean, you think about an Allen Lazard or a Valdez-Scantling, guys that weren't top-notch receivers coming out of the draft, but have developed into long-time standing receivers because of getting to work with guys like Aaron Rodgers and Robert Tonyan at the tight end position. That's a very good room for him to go into and get a chance to get some great experience.
So take me back to did you expect to get drafted?
I don't know. I was told I had a late round grade, but that's just a way of saying, that's a way of agents. We cover our butts by saying that. But, you know, I did not anticipate getting drafted. It would have been a nice surprise, but it wasn't something I thought was going to happen.
So, because you just said it, you know, after those first 1, 2, 3 rounds, everybody's kind of level no matter if you get drafted or not. Mm-hmm. But there is still something about hearing your name called in the draft. So let's talk about some of those guys and the undrafted free agent status, because, and you talked about this, sometimes it's better, even though there's this, you know, stigma about getting your name called in the draft. Sometimes it's better for you to not have your name called, so then you can get a better fit, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to convince players of that, right? It's easy for me from been in it for 6 years and see how it works and pull myself out and put myself in the agent role and explain to a player why we think it could be better. But, you know, as a player, you still want to see your name come up across the screen and hear the dun-da-da pick is in, right? And so when you're able to look at it and do a roster breakdown, I mean, Austin Allen's in a phenomenal situation where I have very little doubt that if he handles business, he'll be able to. They drafted 1 tight end in Daniel Bellinger up there, and they have no established tight end in New York, and so we were able to get him into a great fit, and that's what you hope your agent does for all these. I hope for Stilley's sake, and I hope for Damian Daniels and Williams and all those guys, that their agent did a great job of not just trying to get them the most money or get them the most like signing bonus, but really making sure the roster situation gives you a chance to make the team, right? If you go put yourself in a room that they drafted like 3 dudes, or there's a ton of vets that have established guaranteed money, like your chances of making the roster are really slim. And now, yeah, you might have got a couple more grand on your signing bonus, but dude, you're talking about you could make $705,000 next year. Is that $3 grand on your signing bonus really worth not having an opportunity to actually make the team? Honestly, we all thought Austin was going to get drafted, you know, but that's just the way. There wasn't that tight end run, didn't start until late. But, you know, a guy like JoJo, where he had a lot of hype coming in too, and where you go, but, you know, the biggest thing for him is, I think we talked about all the time, someone has to have a vision for JoJo Domann, right? Where is he going to fit? What does he play? What is he? And I think something that hurt JoJo is his 40 time, right? He didn't run fast enough to be considered a nickel, but he's also not considered big enough to be a true linebacker. And so he really does play that hybrid role, which there is a need for, but when you don't see him as a starter in that hybrid role, and I'm not saying he's not, but I'm saying obviously the NFL doesn't view him as a starter in that hybrid role right now, that's probably why he fell into that undrafted category. But the Colts is a great fit for him too. They've got some really athletic linebackers that they love putting in there with Leonard and those guys. So I think he'll fit in and he could be a guy that plays special teams in the league for 10 years and becomes a special team ace too, which you can make a lot of money and a great career doing that as well.
Spoken like Will Compton, right?
Yeah, 10-year vet, right? And apparently Will Compton said JoJo's going to be the only linebacker, if he got drafted, that wasn't going to be a bust this year. So
a couple of their Huskers landing in spots. Your guy Ben Stilley to Miami, right? Any other picks jump out to you, or spots?
You know, the thing that I was a little surprised me, Daniel's a guy that left early, right? Could have came back, not getting drafted. That's always kind of it's a kick in the butt when you're that guy. I mean, it happened to Nick Gates a few years ago. He's still banging the league. Is Daniels good enough to play in the NFL? Absolutely. But when you get to the end of draft day and you're like, man, I could have played one more year in college and maybe could have heard my name called, that one stings a little bit too. So that was a little interesting to me that he left early. So I'm curious kind of who got in his ear and if he's doing all right. I hope he's fine. He does have a home, though, which is the most important thing. All you want to do is a chance to compete, right? And then you got Williams going up there to the Legion of Boom with Seattle, I believe. right? So you talk about a place that knows how to develop corners, develop DBs, and get a chance to go up there and take a shot with a team that's kind of rebuilding a little bit. So, that's a good spot for him to land as well.
What does it take to go now that these guys, whether it be Samori or these undrafted free agents, now what's the process like, and what does it take for them to secure a spot on a team?
Yeah, so there's two weekends of rookie minicamp. So the first one is this weekend. Half the teams do the rookie minicamp this weekend. The second half does it next weekend. So it gives guys that are rookie minicamp tryouts, so not priority undrafted guys, but just tryouts, 2 opportunities. So they'll fly out either this week or next week, and you get a playbook, and you just got to start grinding, right? You're already behind, which is what, they put the rookies in a bind right away. You're already 2 weeks behind because guys have been there at OTAs starting last week or even this week. So you're behind, and you got to come, and the big thing is you just got to start really just understanding, hey, everything I just did in the last 4 months is great, but none of that's going to help me make the football team, right? Like running my 40 and doing all that, cool. I got to be a football player. I got to get back to moving this guy from point A to point B against his will, or running around this guy, or whatever I have to do. And you also have to do the mentality shift of I'm no longer the man, right? If I got to go hold the bag, I got to go hold the bag. If I got to run down on scout kickoff, I got to run down on scout kickoff. And you just find a way to make yourself valuable to that team. And that looks different for every position. That looks different for every player. But the more you can do, the longer you can stay. So you just start trying to showcase yourself, and really you're selling yourself via your play and how you handle yourself in the building to your coaches, to people around, so that come in September, you want guys standing on the table going, we can't cut this guy because he's going to help our football team. Or, hey, we can put this guy on the practice squad because he's good enough that he's one play away to be on our active roster, but we just don't have a space for him right now, right? You just got to find a way to stay in the league, because once you're out of it, it's really hard to get back in.
Always good to chat with the big guy, and that wasn't even half of our conversation. So that full, you can hear that. Yep, on our podcast platforms, you can hear all of that. And I thought it was just his takeaways, because he was just a player and how players approach it. He provides some perspective behind the scenes of how this whole thing goes down that you might not know if you're just a player or, from the outside looking in. So we dive into all of that. And much more from Jeremiah on our Huskers Radio Network podcast platforms.
Good. Look forward to that. Are we a fan of the glasses? What's up or no? The guys were all talking about it.
Him and Scott Frost must have gotten the memo, the glasses memo, right?
He's got a little Tony Stark look to him now with those glasses on there.
But I think he was tired because he had
been on the go.
Long weekend. He had just gotten back, so he probably couldn't get those contacts in.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, our Sports Nightly hotline, it's open and brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brand, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. We're back with more next.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Attention anyone standing near a mud puddle. Trucks and Bucks is back, so take cover. The Nebraska Lottery's most popular scratch game is roaring down the road again. And this year we're giving away 8 blue 2022 Ford F-150 XLT Super Crew Flex Fuel trucks. So buy a $2 Trucks and Bucks ticket today. You could win a new Ford F-150 and make a real splash in your neighborhood. Ford F-150 is a registered trademark owned and licensed by Ford Motor Company. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
Preparation. It's the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pregame routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Huskers fans, it's time to plan your dream trip to Ireland and see your team face the Northwestern Wildcats at Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. Single game tickets are on sale now at huskers.com/Ireland. Start the 2022 season in the best way. Plan your dream trip to Ireland and see your team face the Northwestern Wildcats at Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. Buy your single game ticket today at huskers.com/Ireland.
Did you ever buy something and get more than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it. The confidence of flashing a beautiful smile, the relief that your family can keep living the life they love, the serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
You always dreamed of owning your own farm. Now you're living your dream, and it's time to pick the tractor that makes it all come together. Massey Ferguson has reinvented what compact and utility tractors can be and redefined what they do, making them easier to operate, more comfortable to drive, more versatile than ever. Massey Ferguson gives Nebraska farmers the power and performance to win in the field. Osceola Implement in Osceola, Nebraska, your locally owned Massey Ferguson dealer. Proud supporters of the Huskers and Nebraska farmers.
When you're a sports fan, it's kind of like having a new love interest. You want to know all about them. Only instead of learning about someone's third-grade crush, you want to know the latest scores, stats, and lineups. To get that, you need Cox Internet. Cox gives you that window to look deeply into your beloved team's soul. Not to mention their injury list. Cox, we're sports 24/7. Learn more at cox.com/sports.
From sprains and stitches to sore throats and sinus infections. When it's care that can't wait, count on CHI Health Clinic Priority Care. Simply walk in 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You'll get the quality care you need without an appointment, and you'll never pay more than a regular primary care visit. Get in, get out, and get on with your day. Find a location near you at chihealth.com/prioritycare.
Everyone knows that Dakota Mac is known for their great rates on long-term fixed ag real estate loans. But just how long-term are they? Well, they're even longer term than your sister's piano recital at church that time you drank a whole big cup of soda right before you left home and insisted to your mom that you didn't have to use the bathroom. We're talking that long-term.
Hi, it's Boyd Minry from Dakota Mac. Give me a call at 402-463-4637 to learn all about our competitive rates on 30-year fixed-rate loans.
Back on our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it's sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you here on a Wednesday night, 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. Crypto King in our YouTube stream was wondering, because Damian Daniels didn't get drafted, could he come back? The answer is no. He's signed with an agent, and he's now signed as a free agent with a team.
Yeah. So once you, that's what I think one of the things that they should change. I think some of these players should be able to go explore like they do with the NBA.
Right.
And, you know, because they can enter their names, kind of fill it out, see what teams are saying, and then they can come back. But football, you can't do that. But I think they should do that for football.
I agree. Now, you can't wait till the draft week. You maybe have up until a month out or something. That's what the NBA does, 3 or 4 weeks out. Then you have to exit there, But you can't sign and take agent money because that you lose your amateur status.
Right.
Whatever that means in this world
I know.
of NIL. What is amateur status now? But no, he's past the point of no return, unfortunately for Damian. And I hope it works out. I hope he makes a team. Great kid.
Yeah, it just, that's kind of what Jeremiah was talking about. And sometimes they grind it out and they're just ready to move on. They have their degrees and all of that. But, Damian was really scratching the surface. I think he really came out on the scene. And then he was hurt at the end of the season too, which he missed the last. And I don't know how long that set him back.
He played hurt too.
Yeah.
He played through some pain.
So he missed the last game. And if he had surgery, I don't know how long that set him back from actually training and all of that. So that could have played into it as well.
Yeah. We wish him nothing but the best. Texans, I believe, right? That's where he signed.
There's no doubt he's got some talent, and we saw splashes of that he could maybe help a team. So he's just, again, as you just heard Jeremiah diving into, and he dives into that even more on the podcast, but what it kind of takes from now. And you heard him saying too about first and second round, absolutely, it's a good spot to be in, third even, but 4 through 7, and then those undrafted free agents are all kind of the same. You're kind of on the same playing field. So, all of those guys have got to go take care of business. And what I was saying last night, though, with a lot of, these players going from a place like here, a program like here, they got to step ahead because this place is run so well. It's almost like you're part of a professional franchise.
Also, some questions in the chat about, is Nebraska concerned at all about tampering from Oregon? Casey Rogers announced today that that's where he is going to go continue his football. Tony Tuioti was Nebraska's defensive line coach, left after the season, took a job on the Oregon staff. I don't get that sense at all that Nebraska's worried about that.
I don't either. And TCU could maybe say the same thing with Coach Applewhite.
Absolutely.
And I've said this before, but players now there are a lot of players that come here because of Nebraska and the program, but there are a lot of players too that have the connections with those coaches and have built those relationships with the coaches that recruited them, that they played for, their position coaches. So when those coaches move on, that's kind of what they do because they signed up to play for that coach. And now more and more these players are just there. That's what they're buying into is who those relationships are built with those individual coaches.
Our sports audio hotline is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. 402-413-2400. Back with the last little segment of Hour 1 next.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics. You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, digital and social media, radio advertising, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
At Groundworks, we take great pride in helping our Nebraska neighbors keep their homes healthy. From repairing foundations to waterproofing basements to fixing crawl spaces or lifting concrete driveways. We'd like to think our customers choose us because of our attention to detail or the fact that we're the nation's leading foundation solutions provider. What gives our customers the most comfort is we're right here in Nebraska. Visit groundworks.com for a free estimate. Groundworks. Foundation solutions crafted with pride. The official foundation company of the Huskers.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
There is no place like Nebraska, and there's no place that treats you like home like Sapp Brothers. For 50 years, Sapp Brothers has fueled America's heartland and been a reliable partner to local farms and Husker fans across Nebraska, providing the highest quality fuel, lubricants, and propane, servicing your farming equipment and welcoming guests into their travel centers. Visit www.sappbros.net. Sepp Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Husker Athletics.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Rise above the sea of sameness and shop the Lincoln Corsair at Woodhouse Lincoln, the Omaha Metro's exclusive Lincoln dealer. The Lincoln Corsair has seating for 5 and integrated technology features that deliver the functionality you need. With an expressive aesthetic and luxurious interior, the Lincoln Corsair is quiet luxury redefined. Visit us in store off 144th and Giles Road at Woodhouse Place or online at woodhouselincoln.com.
402-413-2400, the number to dot us up with a comment or question here. Final few minutes of hour one of Sports Alley. Kind of a drizzly, rainy night right now. I'm kind of ready for a little sunshine, a little warmer weather. I think it's coming next week. Next week's finals week. You're going to start getting your parking lot cleared out here.
Thank goodness.
Where you can park and get in there. You know what I saw last night leaving here? And Tim saw it yesterday, too, I think, a different park. Big old raccoon.
I saw one when I was leaving the night at the lead. He was just chilling out in the middle of while people were walking out.
Yeah. He climbed into a storm cellar thing.
That's what that one did, too.
My God, big thing.
Yeah. They're eating well, apparently, in those sewers.
I guess. I don't know if all the rain has kind of stirred up some things, and so they're surfacing right now. But yeah, so you've seen it. I've seen it. Tim said he saw it.
Yeah.
Andrew's the only one, and Andrew probably doesn't keep an eye out for stuff like that, so he hasn't seen it yet. But yeah, crazy. I was driving out last night. I was freaking out driving out.
Was he just hanging out?
He's kind of hanging out on the side of the street, so I slowed down so I didn't hit him. He didn't run in front of me, and then he crawled down into a little sewer well. So off he went.
Wow.
So there he was. Crazy stuff. We need to get this rain out of here so that we have good weather for softball this weekend. They're going to try to sell that thing out on Saturday. Free admission again Saturday. It's a 4 o'clock start as they take on Indiana. I did see that Minnesota today in a midweek doubleheader swept Wisconsin, which assures the Huskers of a bye in that first round. They will definitely be one of the top 4 seeds.
That's awesome.
Another good piece of news.
Yeah, really good. And they have a chance. I think if they win 2 out of 3, they'll be looking pretty good to lock in that 2 seed. Yeah. So, but more than that, more than just the seeding in the Big Ten tournament, this is big in setting the tone for going into the postseason, and that's the messaging that they're kind of approaching this week. And this has been a team that even when they were on the 18-game win streak, or when they had the disappointing finishes in some of the games, they take it one game at a time. They don't look ahead. They don't look behind. And so they aren't looking ahead by any means, but they know how important this weekend is. And it's senior weekend, and look how special those seniors have been for this group this year.
Should be fun. Friday, Saturday, Sunday out at Bowling Stadium. And again, the weather looks pretty good all weekend, so I don't think you're going to have to bring blankets. I was making some fun of some folks at the baseball game last week. It was 81 degrees, and I saw people carrying heavy blankets. I'm like, it's 81 degrees. You leave the blanket in the car for this game.
Maybe they're going to sit on it in the berm.
No, they brought it. No, they were up on the seats. They weren't on the berms. Yeah, berms, I get that, but no, they were.
Well, maybe they thought it was going to go long and it was going to get chilly. The temp was going to drop.
So, yeah, I made some people mad about that. I redeemed myself when I brought up MASH, because that got people.
Yeah, that was a hot topic.
Yeah, crazy. Hey, our Sports Alley Hotline is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. Great to hear from Jeremiah, get his perspective on the draft, how well the Huskers did, and the excitement ahead for those young men as they try to make their way into professional football. Come back, hour number 2, Sports Alley on the other side. Come on back, have some fun with us.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Searching for your next vehicle? Shop Woodhouse first. Over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles in stock and on our lots, with new trades arriving daily that you can explore on woodhouse.com. Plus, confidence comes standard when you purchase a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Woodhouse. With our multi-point inspection, transparent pricing, available add-on warranties, and financing options, purchasing a pre-owned vehicle has never been simpler. Experience the difference and drive away today confident and road-ready in your new vehicle from Woodhouse.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. The university has a new undergraduate business and law major. Students majoring in business and law are learning to use legal knowledge to better solve business challenges. They are also gaining skills in regulatory compliance, financial services, securities regulation, and corporate social responsibility. Upon graduation, they will boost the state's talent pool in these critical areas of expertise.
Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go is mealtime made easy. Just order delicious meals online for convenient curbside pickup or have it delivered. Want breakfast? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Need lunch? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Doing dinner? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Get pancakes, burgers, fried chicken, lasagna, Hai Chai Asian dishes, sushi, pizza, and more. If you're craving it, Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go has it with curbside pickup or delivery. Order today at Hy-Vee.com/mealtime.
Welcome inside the Acres Broadcast Center. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is your Sports Nightly Ticker. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Happy May 4th. We have another great hour ahead. Later this hour, we'll take a trip around the Big Ten and hear from some of the best beat writers in the conference as they recap their respective schools' spring games. Over to pro sports. In the NBA playoffs, the Heat lead the 76ers 31-24. That's at the end of the first quarter. Out west later tonight, Dallas is in Phoenix, looking to pull even with the Suns in Game 2 of their series. Tip-off is set for 9 p.m. In the NHL playoffs, it is 2 games. There are 2 games in action. The Hurricanes lead the Bruins 2-0. That's at the end of the first period. That's a chippy game thus far. And the Lightning and Maple Leafs are scoreless with 5 minutes left in the first period. The Wild will look to rebound later tonight when they take on the Blues. The Blues won the first game of that series big, they rolled over the Wild in that one. Tonight's game, Game 2, is set for puck drop at 8:30. And at 9, the Kings and Oilers are back at it after the Kings claimed an overtime win in their first meeting on Monday night. In the MLB, some active scores going on for you right now. The Blue Jays lead the Yankees 2-1 in the top of the fourth. Bases are loaded there for the Yankees with 2 outs. The Padres are up on the Guardians in Game 2 of their doubleheader. That one is 5-2 as the Guardians are threatening with the bases loaded, trying to get back in that one. Currently scoreless are the Rangers and Phillies. That's in the 5th. 6-0 Orioles jumped on the Twins early, top of the 4th in that one. 2-0 Red Sox lead the Angels. White Sox and Cubs in the Battle of Chicago. It's 1-0 White Sox in that one. Reds lead the Brewers 2-1 in the first. And then some earlier finals from today. 8-7 Diamondbacks beat the Marlins. 9-2 the Braves crushed the Mets. 3-2 the Tigers edged the Pirates. 5-4 Padres. They took on the Guardians earlier today in their first game in that doubleheader. Now again was Padres taking that one 5-4. Cardinals beat up on the Royals 10-0. 7-2 the Astros beat the Mariners. The Rays blanked the A's 3-0. And the Pirates beat the Tigers 7-2. And later tonight, we'll see the Nationals and Rockies at 7:40. And the Giants and the Dodgers renew their rivalry out west at 9:10. That's the ticker. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Schultz has the sign and the pitch. Curveball, that's whacked to left field. That's hit pretty well. Going back is Peterson, and it is gone. Home run, England, who just blasted one out of here, and the Big Red have a 1-0 lead. Handley brings it in. And Felder swings and lines it to right center field, down for a hit, and it one hops the wall. Ibarra has scored. Andrews scores as Felder slides into second with a 2-run double, and the Huskers have doubled their lead to 4-0 here in the third. Schultz comes set. Now the 2-1 pitch. That's lifted in the air to right. Drifting back is McFleur. He's to the track. He's to the wall. It is gone. Garrett Anglam's second home run today, and it's a 6-0 Nebraska lead. Handley's 2-0, and Felder swings and lines it over the glove of the second baseman and all the way to the wall on the ground on a double to right center. Rayleigh has scored. Ibarra scores. It's a second 2-run double of the day for Felder. Nebraska leads it 8-1 in the fourth. Anglam launches another one to left. Peterson back. He's to the track. He's to the wall. He has done it again. 3-homer day for Garrett Anglam.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
And we're back, hour number 2 of our Wednesday night show. So glad that you spending some time with us here tonight. We are going to take a spin around the lake. We're going to do kind of a post-spring practice blitz starting tonight. We'll work in a couple of weeks as we get through the month of May to get everybody kind of launched into the summer. These are going to be out before the magazines come out. I get excited when the magazines come out. I'll admit it, I do.
I know you, when I first met you in the summer, you were so excited to go get your Phil Steele magazine. You're like, I found it at Barnes & Noble. Because sometimes you can't find them. No. People get them. So
his is one of the last ones to come out. There might even be some out now, but like Athlon's or Lindy's come out pretty early. But we're going to do a little tonight. We're going to hear from the guys at Northwestern, Indiana, and Purdue. 3 teams that Nebraska will play in the first half of the season next year to see what kind of spring practices they had. Did you see that Robert Griffin ran a 4.48? he was doing something with the NFL Network, and he was out. And apparently, that word got out, and some teams contacted him and go, "Hey, you want to play a little 4.48 for a guy that retired like 2 years ago?"
Wow, that's crazy.
Pretty quick.
But he was a freak athlete.
Unbelievable.
He just was on another level. You want to talk about cheat mode when he was playing. I watched him play a few times, and he was different. I guess I never understood why it didn't work out at the next level.
I don't think he threw it well enough.
Yeah.
Great runner.
But the game's changed a lot here.
It has.
You heard Jeremiah talking about how a lot of these teams are looking to have mobile quarterbacks now, but back then that was not really the case.
You're right.
Jalen Hurts would not have been playing 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
I think you're right. But, yeah, I think he's broadcasting now, and I think he does a pretty good job. I saw him a couple times last fall, but ran
I think on the ESPN, like their 11 a.m. game on ABC, maybe.
He does, yeah. I did a lot of ACC games, I thought, last year when I saw him.
And Big 12. I saw him on Big 12
But you're right. He was, if I had to name in the last 20 years, 20 players that were really fun to watch and impactful, he'd be on the list. He was that good.
And Baylor wasn't good until him, really. I mean,
correct.
He put Baylor on the map, and it wasn't like Baylor was loaded with talent around him. He was kind of the first of guys that really put a team on their back. But, I mean, he had some wide receivers, but their defense wasn't very good, as I recall.
Right. But then they were a lousy program for the decade.
They were the team
like
you have on homecoming.
Everybody played them homecoming. Oh, this is another homecoming opponent for them.
It's crazy. So when I went down there to cover a game before, I mean, they were just, this was not when they were not good, but like it was before they moved into their new stadium. And it was like, I had my suitcase and I just wheeled it in. Nobody checked me, anything, because nobody was going to the games. It was just a sad atmosphere. But man, things have changed now. Have you been to that new stadium? It's really nice.
Driven by it, I've not been inside it.
It's really nice. So it's changed a lot drastically for Baylor.
And he had a big reason for that resurgence because of what he did. Heisman Trophy, all the attention he brought to the program, he kind of put him back on the map a little bit. So,
and Baylor had quite a few defensive players drafted this year.
They did. They won the league, didn't they, last year? I think they did. I think they won the conference in football.
Yeah, because they beat Oklahoma State.
Correct. And then went to the Sugar Bowl. They had an amazing, and then that followed after their men's basketball had won the tournament a year ago. So what a 12 months for Baylor athletics. Down in there. So RG running a 4.48. That is unbelievable. He's been retired for 2 or 3 years. That's crazy that he was able to do that.
I wonder why he ran it. It
was Rich Eisen, who's on the NFL Network, had just a bunch of guys come back and just run it. And Rich Eisen ran it. I think he ran a 6 something, but they were just having some fun. And then he did it, and everybody was like, "You just ran a 4.48." He's like, "Yeah, I don't know how I quite did that." Well, NFL teams watch that and they're like, "Dude, you got some playing time maybe still in your legs."
Who would win the 40 in this crew?
Probably. You're gonna make me say it, aren't you? Probably Andrew.
Yeah, look at him. He's over there getting ready to go.
Probably Andrew.
Okay, so who would be second? I mean, I feel like I could outrun Jeremiah. I might tear an ACL or pull a hammy in the process, but I think I could outrun Jeremiah.
You might be able to. Yeah. Yeah, that's golly. Andrew's flexing over there.
Oh, he's over there. He's getting warmed up over there.
Really, really good about himself. Are you into the NBA playoffs yet? Are you just kind of slowly easing into this yet?
Oh, no, I've been all in. I like watching the playoffs. And the Golden State Memphis series is great. I love watching great guard play, and those teams have arguably the best guards. Matching up with Ja Morant, and then all of them. The riches of guards for Golden State is unfair. And the pool party, Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. So it's going to be a fun series. It was fun last night. It's going to keep being fun.
The 2 series out west interest me more than the 2 in the east. Because Dallas-Phoenix, I think, is going to be a really good series, too.
I don't really. The east, I'm not in on that either.
Miami and Miami's playing Philly, and Philly doesn't have Embiid.
Yeah.
Boston, Milwaukee. I love the Greek Freak. I love his game, and I think they probably take Boston out. But yeah, the 2 series is out west. I'm with you. The Golden State Memphis series, contrasting styles. Memphis wants to bang you. They want to be physical. Golden State just wants to shoot threes.
Yeah. And they can shoot threes very well.
They're very, very good at that. All right, we're going to have the Big Ten Blitz coming up here in a little bit, and then we'll have some more open phones for you. Time to tell you to buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. The Blitz is next.
Welcome to Ag Answers, where we answer common questions related to farming and ranching. Today's topic, animal agriculture. There's been a lot of talk suggesting that giving up meat is good for the environment. However, livestock emissions only account for less than 4% of greenhouse gas emissions, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Also, by reducing meat in your diet, you're missing out on all sorts of beneficial nutrients like protein, iron, and zinc. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
Momentum. It's building at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. With game-changing work in precision agriculture, nanoscience, and digital humanities. We're unlocking mysteries in brain research, solving the impossible with remote surgery using robots. And we're creating bold futures with world-leading research in early childhood education. We don't slow down, and we're not letting up. We are Nebraska.
Levitt's first one. And Glatter swings and lets the high fly ball. Left center and deep. It's gone and we're tied. Grand slam Glatter. We're tied at 8. Nebraska softball opens its final regular season series of the year Friday night at Bowlin Stadium against Indiana. Your pregame at 5:20. First pitch at 5:30 on the Huskers Radio Network, Huskers.com, and the official Nebraska Athletics app.
Searching for a new to-you car, truck, or SUV? Shop Woodhouse first. Over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, all makes, all models, in stock and on the lot. Plus, confidence comes standard when you purchase a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Woodhouse. With our multi-point inspection, transparent pricing, available add-on warranties, and financing options, purchasing a pre-owned vehicle has never been simpler. Experience the difference and drive away confident and road-ready in your new vehicle from Woodhouse.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to Ag Answers. Today we're talking about renewable biofuels like corn ethanol and soy biodiesel. Electric vehicles continue to make headlines as we look for ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. But did you know by using ethanol, you can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 46% compared to traditional gasoline and by up to 86% when you use biodiesel compared to petroleum diesel? Locally produced biofuels are the here and now solution to combating climate change. They are good for our air, good for our wallets, and good for Nebraska. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
Monday nights are now famous for something else. Powerball. That's right, Powerball is adding Monday nights to the lineup so you have more days to play. Plus, with a starting jackpot in the millions, you don't want to pass up this chance to score a bundle of money. Get pumped for Powerball with drawings Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Levitt's first one. And Glatter swings and lets the high fly ball. Left center and deep. It's gone and we're tied. Grand slam Glatter. We're tied at 8. Nebraska softball opens its final regular season series of the year Friday night at Bowlin Stadium against Indiana. Your pregame at 5:20. First pitch at 5:30 on the Huskers Radio Network, Huskers.com, and the official Nebraska Athletics app.
When you've escaped the screens and the sun bathes everything in a golden glow, and your friend hands you a cold organic beer that tastes as perfect as nature itself, that's pure gold. Michelob Ultra Pure Gold, the first national USDA certified organic beer. Organic by nature. Enjoy responsibly. 2020 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Pure Gold, St. Louis, Missouri.
They say if you listen hard enough, you can hear the corn grow. It's true. When you're out in the field, you understand its challenges and what it needs to thrive. Channel Seedsmen bring insights from the field to our team of Bayer plant breeders. Their knowledge inspires our product development. From your best ground to your most challenging conditions, our products are designed to perform in your fields. Visit channellistens.com to see our latest innovations. Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center. It is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Well, Husker spring football practice has been over darn near a month now. Some of the teams in the league have just wrapped up within the last week or so. So tonight we begin a series of reports of checking in on what's happened in Big Ten football around the conference. We call it the Blitz.
Big Ten Blitz. Indiana.
Here to talk about the Hoosiers, Zach Osterman of the Indianapolis Star. Indiana wrapping up spring football practice. Give me a couple of storylines. What were some of the big things that Coach Allen was hoping to accomplish in spring, Zach?
Well, I think the first storyline is we weren't allowed in. So, and that's unusual for Indiana, especially in the spring. But I think it speaks to how much has changed and how much Indiana maybe wants to keep close to the vest when you consider 30 some odd new faces, including a lot of early enrollees and transfers. I think close to 24 of the guys between high schoolers and transfers Indiana's signed this cycle. I think close to 24 of them enrolled in January and were there for spring practice. New offensive coordinator, they're co-offensive coordinators now, new defensive coordinator, Tom Allen taking over control of defensive play calling once again. A lot of questions at quarterback. I think the big storyline is there are just a ton of questions about this team. And, again, Indiana is not the most overly secretive program in the country. We usually get pretty good access to practice and things like that, especially in the spring. This spring they shut it down. They just didn't want anybody to have any kind of intel into the direction they're moving. They didn't even have a spring game, and I think that tells you just how much they kind of want the process of remaking some of the fundamentals of the program, scheme, roster, depth, too deep behind closed doors.
2-10 last season. Let's start with the quarterback position. Where does that stand? Where do you think that lands when you get going in September?
They have options at very least. That's kind of, I think, the one thing that you have Jack Tuttle back from last season, Donovan McCulley back from last season. They've got an incoming freshman who won't enroll till the summer, so I imagine he's probably not going to be involved in the quarterback battle. Connor Bazelak, a Missouri transfer who I think showed some real flashes during his time in the SEC, who I would probably rate as being as likely as any of the returners to start at that position. I think he's got a lot of talent and every chance to win that job. And then even a guy like Dexter Williams, who signed a couple of years ago, tore his ACL last spring, missed last season. But I know the staff has really been high on kind of his tools and his potential. Again, there are a lot of bodies there. There's a lot of, there's even, I think, a fair bit of experience there. Jack Tuttle has been, at Indiana for a couple of years now. Connor Bazelak spent a lot of time playing at Missouri. Donovan McCulley obviously got some snaps at quarterback as a true freshman last fall. But you don't have a Michael Penix. You don't have, a Nate Sudfeld, a player that you can just look at and say he is the clear front runner. Somebody's going to have to go take the job off of him to be the starter next fall or come fall. You would just kind of on experience as much as anything else, maybe look at Bazelak and Tuttle as the two guys to watch most closely. But it's a question that's going to continue to be asked, frankly, all the way through August.
What about the offense? You mentioned Coach Allen's going to go back and call defense. Tell me about the new coordinators and how that's going to work offensively.
So the new coordinators, Walt Bell was hired as offensive coordinator, and then when Indiana brought Adam Henry down from the Dallas Cowboys to be their wide receivers coach, they named him co-offensive coordinator. I think Walt Bell will have probably of the two of them more say in scheme, but I think Tom Allen has always liked the idea of having sort of multiple minds in the collaborative offensive process. He is more involved offensively than he was when he first started as Indiana's head coach, but he'll still tell you that he kind of sees that as somebody else's corner of the store first and foremost. And so I think it will be a lot of what you saw from Bell when he was at Maryland, in the brief time, frankly, that he was at FSU, depending on who you talk to. Some people say that was bad for him. Some people say it really was kind of beyond his control. But I think it's going to be a lot of spread, a lot of tempo. I think there's going to have to be some quarterback run involved. That's something that Indiana has tried and sometimes succeeded, sometimes failed to really integrate into their offense. I think they've got to find a way to make that more consistent. Not a prolific runner, but just somebody who can threaten you with his legs. And then they've got to find pass catchers. Ty Fryfogel's off to the NFL. Peyton Hendershot's off to the NFL. A whole bunch of other guys transferred, the guys that you would have looked at as maybe the next wave of wide receivers coming in behind a Fryfogel or a Whop Phillier who graduated 2 years ago. Those guys, a lot of them transferred, and so now Indiana's going to be turning to maybe a mix of a true freshman like Omar Cooper out of Indianapolis, who's really good, but obviously very young, and then also some transfers like Emory Simmons from North Carolina, some guys that are not new to college football but are going to be new to Indiana. There are just, quite frankly, a lot of questions on that side of the ball, and it's going to be up to Walt Bell and Adam Henry to sift through them all.
Whop Phillier had a huge day in Lincoln a few years ago. Indiana will visit Nebraska on October the 1st. Zach Osterman of the Indianapolis Star. Zach, as always, we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Big Ten Blitz, Northwestern.
Here to talk about the Wildcats, Louis Vaquer of the Wildcat Report. Huskers will open the season in Dublin, Ireland against Northwestern. These are two teams, Louis, that did not have good 2021s. What were some of the big stories and storylines of spring football for Fitz's group?
Well, it was a pretty quiet spring. I think the biggest story by far, though, is that we've got a quarterback competition. You know, Ryan Helinski, who started, I think it was 5 games last year, was sort of looked on as the heir apparent, but he's going to get pushed by redshirt freshman Brendan Sullivan, who was kind of an overlooked 3-star guy a year ago. And he had I was hearing whispers last fall that he had a good fall in practice and things like that. And then in spring, he followed that up, and they're going to be neck and neck and battle for the job in the fall. I think that's the big thing. And they also had 8 transfers join them for the last 3 weeks of spring practice. So Fitz is happy with the competitive depth that he's building this year.
You know, usually if you go back through Coach Fitzgerald's tenure, Louis, at Northwestern, they always seem to follow a bad year with a really good year. How's he been able to do that, and can you see that happening again here this fall?
Yeah, well, that's the hope. But I tell you what, I think, Fitz talked after spring practice that they need to get off the roller coaster a little bit. You know, one of the hallmarks of the program was consistency. And these last 4 years, they've been, bouncing up and down like a yo-yo. 2018, they win the West. 2019, they went 3-9. 2020, they win the West. 2021, they went 3-9. I look back at 2019 when they went 3-9, and quarterback was the biggest problem, and their defense was still stout, but they had terrible production at the quarterback position, and it cost them. Where last year the defense went in the tank as well, so they still had their struggles in the passing game, and the offense struggled all year. But the defense, which has been really the bedrock of the program, teams were able to run at will against them. I think they finished I think it was 119th in the country against the run. So that's what's more troubling to me, and I think it's going to make, a quick bounce back a lot tougher this time.
Yeah, how about, they had kind of a talent drain on that side of the ball with guys going to the NFL. Some have entered the transfer portal. Who will be some of the bigger names on that side of the ball for the Cats in the fall?
For defense? For defense. Yeah, I think the biggest star, I think the guy that's really primed for an outstanding year is Adetomiwa Adebaware, the defensive end. This is going to be, he's played a lot of football. It's his 3rd straight year as a starter, and he's really come on. And I think last year, I think he developed his pass rush a little bit more, and I think he's going to be the star for them up front. And then in the secondary, I think safety Koko Azuma, who really another guy that emerged last year. I think, last year they had Brandon Joseph, who has since transferred as the big star of that defense. But I think by the end of the year, Azuma was the better player. I think he made a lot of plays. He's a solid tackler in the run game, and I think he's kind of the leader of the secondary back there.
What's been the appetite from the fan base, and where's the team's interest level in traveling to Ireland for this opening game?
Well, I think think people are excited about it. I mean, like you said, these aren't. This isn't exactly a marquee Big Ten matchup, right? You got two teams that went 1-8 in the conference last year, so it's not exactly a big draw that way. But I think Northwestern fans went through a very tough season last year. Very disappointing. So this is kind of like a bowl game, so to speak. I think quite a few people are going to travel there to see it, and it'll be the novelty. And, and if they don't bounce back and have the season they hope for, it will be the bowl game. At least they'll have one, big trip out of it, I think. So I think people are looking forward to it in general. There's still a lot of question marks around the team, but I think the trip to Ireland is, people are excited about that.
It'll be here before we know it. Louis Vaquero, the Wildcat Report. Louis, we appreciate it. Enjoy your summer.
Thanks for having me, Greg. Appreciate it.
Big Ten Blitz, Purdue.
Here to talk about the Boilermakers, Mike Carmen of the Journal and Courier in Lafayette. Purdue's now wrapped up spring football, has for a few weeks now. Mike, what were a couple of the storylines? What were some of the things that were kind of front and center for the coaching staff this spring?
Well, they brought in a lot of transfers in the offseason, also some incoming freshmen who enrolled early, but unfortunately, a lot of the transfers didn't practice because of injuries, or, Jeff was just keeping them out to make sure they make it to the start of camp coming up in August. So you didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of them. A couple of them, Reese Taylor from Indiana, who's a Indianapolis guy, and then Bryce Hampton, who was a Division II. Both those guys play cornerback, and that's a position of need for Purdue. So they were able to get on the field a little bit. Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. There's not a whole lot that I think he can do in the spring to really up his game. So they got a chance to look at the younger quarterbacks. Of course, one of the freshman quarterbacks coming in, Brady Allen, who was Mr. Football in Indiana last year. By the time spring ended, he looked a lot more comfortable, and he has a bright future, but I don't think that future is going to start this year.
Purdue coming off a terrific season, 9-4, that bowl win over Tennessee in a terrific Music City Bowl. Lost some star power with Bell gone on offense and Karlaftis on defense. Let's talk defense a little bit, Mike. Where are the concerns on that side of the ball as they exit spring?
Well, the new concern now is one of their safeties, Marvin Grant, went into the portal on Sunday. So he's a guy with a lot of experience, a hard-hitting safety who teamed with Cam Allen in the back half there, and I thought did a good job. So they've got to look to replace that position. They've got some bodies there, and they use Jalen Graham, who was an outside linebacker last year, and he'll still play outside linebacker. And of course, I think Nebraska fans remember Jalen Graham with the pick six last year at Memorial Stadium. So they trained him a little bit in the spring to play some safety, which is natural position, so he could jump back there. That's one concern defensively. The other one is they don't have a lot of depth at linebacker, which Purdue traditionally does not. The other thing, as you mentioned, they lost their star in George Karlaftis. I'm not sure they have another star in the making. I think they have a lot of bodies up front that they'll use and try to rotate in and keep guys fresh as they get deeper in the second half. But, they don't have that one guy that you look to go out and make a play, and we'll see if that can develop throughout the offseason and also as you get into the 2022 season.
I'll tell you, as a Chiefs fan, I'm delighted to have Karlaftis now in Kansas City, a part of that franchise. Mike, I know that Coach Braum has wanted to be a little bit more balanced on offense. Did they emphasize the run game at all? I mean, they know they can throw it around, and O'Connell's so good throwing the football around. Did they work? Do you think they put some emphasis on the run game in the spring?
They put the emphasis on the run game, whether it's the spring, fall, winter, or summer. They're trying to get that straightened out. They've been last in the Big Ten, I believe, the last 3 years. They would like more balance. Part of that is the play of the offensive line. The other part of that is not having that game breaker in the backfield that they've been trying to get either through the portal or recruiting over the last several years. And they've just not had a lot of depth at running back either. So they've tried to restock that room as much as possible, but they still need to get more punch out of that running game to really balance things out, especially this year because you don't have a David Bell. You've got, if they're healthy and Milton Wright is eligible, I think they have a good group of receivers, but they don't have that star power guy that's going to take you down the field quite yet. We'll see if that develops as well. So that's why the running game becomes a little bit more important for them going into this season.
Good momentum, though, coming off a 9-4. It's hard to replace the confidence that can build into a team and a program. Mike Carmen, we appreciate it. Enjoy your summer. Take care of that yard, and we'll look forward to chatting with you again in the fall.
All right, thank you. Same to you.
Big Ten Blitz.
Mike and all of our contributors joined us on our Sports Nightly Hotline, brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. All right, phone lines, text lines back open, 402-413-2400. Jessica will rejoin me next.
Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer opens like every other seltzer, pours like every other seltzer, but it's not like every other seltzer. USDA certified organic, no added sugar, and low cal, so you've never seen another seltzer quite like it. And with new refreshing flavors like black cherry and watermelon strawberry, you've never tasted one like it either. Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, as real as it tastes. Enjoy responsibly, not a low-calorie food. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, IRC Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
The Nebraska FFA is growing leaders
and building communities.
Together, we are strengthening agriculture.
The Nebraska FFA Foundation believes in our future leaders and the communities they serve. We believe in the future of agriculture.
Join us in the I Believe in the Future of Ag campaign. Learn more at neffafoundation.org. Brought to you by Chief Industries, trusted, tested, true. And Country Partners Cooperative. Together, we can.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
11's first one. And Glatter swings and lets a high fly ball. Left center and deep. It's gone and we're tied. Grand slam Glatter. We're tied at 8. Nebraska softball opens its final regular season series of the year Friday night at Bowlin Stadium against Indiana. Your pregame at 5:20. First pitch at 5:30 on the Huskers Radio Network, Huskers.com, and the official Nebraska Athletics app.
A tradition of winning doesn't happen overnight. Like any team, you gotta be tough, play smart, and work hard. No one understands this more than Ford Motor Company. They built the best team in the game with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 45 years straight. The iconic Ford Bronco and the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Shop online at buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer to buy or custom build the perfect truck or SUV for you. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail.
J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
The Huskers provide the best on the field, and so does Kubota. The new Kubota L60 Limited Edition Series provides the best package for affordability, quality, and comfort, like the deluxe Grand L factory-installed cab or spacious open operator station. Maximize performance with Kubota's best-in-class HST Plus transmission and many other features of the L60 LE Series. Experience the Kubota difference. Visit nebraska-kubota-dealers.com or see Kubota of Omaha in Omaha or North Platte Kubota in North Platte.
There's nothing better than the smoky aroma of grilled beef at the ballpark. This is Anne Marie with the Nebraska Beef Council reminding you to pick up a package of steaks or burgers for your next tailgate party. Whether you're setting up in the parking lot or cheering from home, nutritious beef is a home run choice when cheering on the Huskers. Visit beefitswhatsfordinner.com for delicious beef recipes, grilling tips, and tailgate inspirations. Beef, it's what's for dinner in Nebraska.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Acres. It's the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here on a Wednesday night, 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question. Or if you want to fire off a text, you can do that as well. Let's go to the phones. Up to Omaha. Joe, you're up next on Sports Highlight. Good evening.
Good evening, Greg. Jessica, how are you guys doing?
Great, thanks. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm a wrestling guy. I know you guys have kind of upped the wrestling coverage a little bit, and I appreciate that. I do feel, though, that for the most part, Husker sort of media, in quotes, lacks covering the wrestling team for whatever reason. They'll cover the bowling team, they'll cover the softball team, and a lot of these programs aren't doing as good as the wrestling team. And I feel that with a little promotion, a little publicity, Nebraska is a state that would appreciate the hard work, the sacrifice, the dedication, and sometimes just interviewing a guy and hearing his story. Where did you come from? How did you get into wrestling? What brought you to Lincoln? Will bring a connective story to people that they can relate to, which will draw them into. And I could see Nebraska sort of being a better wrestling sort of state as far as the fans go. And I'm sort of wondering why it doesn't get as much coverage as, and I get it, you know, some of it's dollars, and, you know, obviously football is the king, volleyball, and I love volleyball. I'm a Husker goober. I go to volleyball. I was at the spring game. I go to wrestling. I was at the Big Ten tournament they had in Lincoln, and it's frustrating as a wrestling fan to see our program that's doing as good as they are not get as much publicity as I would like to see them. Now, I know you guys had Ridge Lovett on and blah, 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 but I'd like to see more of it.
Well, I'll argue that I had almost half the starting lineup on this program and on our podcast platforms this season. I had Peyton Robb, I had Christian Lance, and I told those stories. I asked Christian Lance about his journey here, and it's an incredible story, and that's what relates fans to that. So, you know, I feel like we gave Husker wrestling a lot of coverage this year.
I agree, and I appreciate that, and I think it's noticed among wrestling fans, you know, the Husker wrestling fans, and maybe it's not so much you personally, but sort of, you know, the other quote-unquote Husker media outlets, you know, that are either on YouTube or, you know, that have like online publications.
Fine. That's fine. We can't speak for them. That's fine. You want to shoot it?
Yeah, no, I know that. I know that, but, you know, all right, that's what I got. Thanks, guys.
All right. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I love Coach Manning. Love having him on, and we usually have him on 3 or 4 times during his year, and so I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite coaches here, and I love wrestling. I love watching wrestling, but comparing it to say when he said softball program's not doing as well, the softball program is doing very well in a really tough sport to compete in. And they're, number 2 in the Big Ten and looking to go to the postseason. So the softball team is actually performing very well. So, I understand maybe some of the men's sports he was talking about maybe aren't comparing them as well to, Husker wrestling. But as far as softball goes, softball is a very successful program right now.
And he's right. I mean, football is king. You follow, certain amount of what we do, and we gauge the interest of the whole audience, and attendance is a big gauge of that. And around here, football obviously takes the cake. Men's and women's basketball draw very well. Volleyball draws really well. Baseball draws really well. Softball's going to have big crowds this weekend. So that factors into it, too. But, Joe, the phone lines are always open. If you want to call and talk wrestling, we throw those numbers out multiple times every night. We'll talk anything Husker related. So don't be afraid to call us back and talk more wrestling if you'd like. But again, it's also their off season too. We're not going to do a ton of wrestling coverage really in the next 6 months, just like we're really not covering men's and women's basketball a lot right now either. They're not in season. So you kind of go with what's in season.
Unless they get a transfer portal, which that happened. We talked to those players. But Ridge just told me that he just got back on the mat after their seasons. They got a little bit of time off, to rest and recuperate after a hard season. Most of those teams do. So when their sport's done. So, they're just now kind of getting back into practicing, I think.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Joe. Thanks for the phone call. 402-413-2400, the number to dot us up with a comment or question here on Sports Nightly. And, we're kind of wrapping up all the sports. You've got track has still got a few more weeks left on their season. Softball ends the regular season this weekend. Baseball's got 3 more weeks of the regular season. And then you kind of hit that hiatus in the summer where everything kind of shuts down for college sports for a few months. So we're about to enter that phase of all of this. I did talk to somebody today about volleyball. I was like, when's their schedule coming out? Because, we've got the football schedule. They start at the same time as football. And they said the conference tells them they're going to be able to have their schedule by the end of May for volleyball. So
that's exciting.
A couple weeks away.
That'll be fun to talk about.
Yeah. Basketball, we're still a couple months away from their schedules coming out. But I've been waiting to see this non-conference schedule for John Cook's squad.
And, he talks about just the scheduling. They've got a long list of people that want to come here. There's a lot of teams, if you look at programs, don't want to play against Nebraska at home because it's a hard atmosphere to play in. But for volleyball teams, because this atmosphere is just unlike anything anywhere else, that they have teams that want to come play are basically going to get handed a loss so their players can have a chance to experience what it's like to play here.
Right. And I believe Stanford is set to come here this year because Nebraska went there last year. So I think that's was a 1-1. So
and another thing he always does is try to tie in to his players.
Somebody's hometown.
Yep.
It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Take
I love
them back
that.
to some their part of the world and do that. So I'm looking forward to that news coming out. I know a lot of Husker volleyball fans are as well. What that schedule going to look like for the Big Red here in the fall. 402-413-2400. Need to slip our final break in. We're back with more Sports Nightly. Keep the texts coming next.
A tradition of winning doesn't happen overnight. Like any team, you got to be tough, play smart, and work hard. No one understands this more than Ford Motor Company. They built the best team in the game with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 45 years straight. The iconic Ford Bronco and the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Shop online at buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer to buy or custom build the perfect truck or SUV for you. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
Attention anyone standing near a mud puddle. Trucks and Bucks is back, so take cover. The Nebraska Lottery's most popular scratch game is roaring down the road again. And this year we're giving away 8 blue 2022 Ford F-150 XLT Super Crew Flex Fuel trucks. So buy a $2 Trucks and Bucks ticket today. You could win a new Ford F-150 and make a real splash in your neighborhood. Ford F-150 is a registered trademark owned and licensed by Ford Motor Company. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help us with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
and exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. J.D. Power ranked Shelter Insurance #1 in customer satisfaction among auto insurers in the Central Region and #1 in price.
See agents Natalie Vampola or Michael Reeves in Omaha, or in Plattsmouth, see agent Julie Null.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
Whether you compete on the court, at the track, on the field, or in the fields, winning isn't just a goal. It's a mindset, shaped, honed, and defined throughout the season. That's why farmers pushing themselves to be the best plant DeKalb brand corn. Wherever you compete, winning has roots. Perform at your best with DeKalb. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse, first 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. Saw the Chancellor today. Always fun to see him, and he's very excited because they're like 10 days away from graduation. He's excited that the turf is done because they're going to be able to put the stage out there and have the big graduation next Saturday.
The turf looks good.
It does look good.
It looks awesome.
It's really, the red really pops, doesn't it? Because it's all fresh.
I was told that the time-lapse video is coming out soon.
Oh,
but
I can't wait.
It's a busy week with releases with the mental health, and then the Place episode is coming out tomorrow. So, there's been a lot of content dropping, so I'm sure it'll be out soon. But there is actually a video of the time-lapse of the field being put in place. So that will be coming out soon. That'll be fun to see.
Also, there's a group that's been putting together a documentary called Day by Day. It's going to drop here in the next week or so. We have the producer of that locked in for a guest appearance with us next week. It's going to cover that 90s era of Husker football that was so spectacular. They put a lot of time into this thing. I guess they had Scott Frost for 2 or 3 hours for an interview session. Tom Osborne, Trev Alberts did a long interview with him. So we're going to talk to the people that have been working. They've been working on this for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's. I know. I mean, those things are a beast to do and to edit down and to get all of the footage, because nowadays everything's digital, right? But back then it wasn't. So you can't just pull it off of an archive. You might have to go to the tape room and import it. So it's definitely a big project, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. Should be fun. So we're going to talk to those folks who, again, have been working on it for a couple of years next week. And remember, told you about this yesterday, Jamie Vaughn, who's the head of compliance for Husker Athletics, is going to join us for an entire hour next Tuesday night to talk NIL. Because certainly I'm not an expert on it. There's so many things that I don't quite understand. So this is going to be really educational for me personally about what he has to deal with and what Husker coaches are having to deal with this new era of college sports.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating. And like we've talked a lot about, we get a lot of questions regarding NIL and the landscape of it and what could change. Are there regulations? And there's just some of the questions we just don't know. But Jamie does have an insight to that and does have a great feel about what could potentially come, and also can answer these questions that, there's just so many legalities to it, right. And, so many different rules and all of that. And, the compliance department is just like everything else, is doing a great job of trying to make sure that, because when we talk about Nebraska being ahead of the game in NIL as far as preparing their student athletes, a big part of that is compliance and making sure that, all the rules are being followed, and that, there's not going to be any cases of ineligibility or any breaking the rules on that front.
I've seen multiple graphics have put out about the best schools in the country of how they've handled NIL. Nebraska is always in the top 2 or 3. Always.
Yeah.
Every list you see, that's something for us to be proud of, that we were ahead of the game and ready to do this thing.
I mean, I've said it before, but I came here from Oklahoma in June, and then that switch happened
July 1st.
And Nebraska was way ahead of Oklahoma. So when I got here, of what was in place, the education was already being done, and all of that, there was way more things being done here. I was so blown away with everything that was already in place here. And then, now Trev's done just an incredible job of staying ahead of it and evolving with it, because so much has changed. You think about where we were on July 1st and to where it is now. I mean, there's so many things that have changed. And so it could have been easy just to say, oh, well, we did a lot, we got them prepared, and then just stayed right there. But no, we're staying there ahead of the game, and involving with Open Doors, which we've had a partnership with for so long. Even before Open Doors was cool, we were partnering with Open Doors.
2 former Husker football players.
Yeah, so they were way ahead of the game, and so Open Doors is the one that can talk to
open those doors.
Yeah, literally open the doors. So it's great to have a partnership with them that can help navigate this thing. But Nebraska's done such a good job of staying on top of it, and going back to, it's not just about football. I mean, look, remember that graphic from the volleyball Final Four when it showed the top 10 NIL earnings in volleyball, and like 6 of the 10 were from Nebraska.
Lexi led the way.
Yeah,
she did. All right, I'm going to be traveling tomorrow with baseball, going to the Twin Cities. You've got the show tomorrow night, and you've got a full lineup.
Yes, yep, should be fun. We're going to have Abby Squire on, one of the sophomore sluggers, and we're going to talk a lot of softball as we head into the final weekend here. We're, making a push to get people to break the record. We want to break the record out there this weekend, and just to look ahead, because we've been asked questions about what the postseason could look like for Nebraska. So going to get some perspective on that, and where Nebraska's kind of shaking up right now, and what they need to do to secure a certain seeding. So all that, we're going to dive into all of that.
73 and sunny is the forecast for Saturday. That's the day of free admission.
Love that.
Friday's 68, mostly sunny, 75 on Sunday. So really good weather this weekend for the Huskers as they wrap up the regular season. They are off then to Lansing, East Lansing, Michigan State, hosting the softball tournament for the conference. Next week is when that will be for softball. And then the NCAA tournament starts right after that. They'll have their selection Sunday, and off into the NCAA tournament they go. Can't believe it's going to be fun.
I cannot believe it's May, but I love, postseason softball. It's a fun time, and there's so much parity this year. And so I was talking to Maddie Burkhart earlier, and a lot of people say Oklahoma's the clear favorite right now, although, she'll argue that maybe the schedule isn't as tough as maybe some of the other teams. But if Oklahoma's the clear favorite, outside of that, there are about 20 teams that anybody could clinch that spot to go to the Women's College World Series, which, again, is great for the sport, as we saw with women's basketball this year.
Yeah, more parity is better for all the sport to make its way through. So you'll have the show tomorrow night, and then Friday we have baseball from Minneapolis as the Huskers have a huge road series. They need wins. Will Bolt met with the media today and just said, we need wins. We've backed ourselves in a corner. We need to make it to Omaha, and he feels like if they get to Omaha, they'll be dangerous in that Big Ten tournament. And the winner of that tournament gets the automatic bid. So there is still postseason possibilities for the Huskers. It's not over. So then they'll fight their way through that, I think. So we're looking forward to that.
And what Coach Bolt said, there's no denying this team is playing better.
They are.
Even though they haven't come out on the right side of the scoreboard, there's no denying they're playing better right now.
Just kind of wish this team had shown up about 3-4 weeks ago. But it's here now, and sometimes if you get hot late, some magic can happen. That'll do it for tonight's show. Great to hear from our contributors on the Blitz. Always fun to hear from Jeremiah. Jessica will take care of you tomorrow night. Thanks to Tim, and where's Mr. Speedman? Andrew. Yeah, he's around here somewhere. Andrew, for being a part of this show tonight. Thanks to everyone. Have a great night. Stay dry. Go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Don't let the cold winter worry you. As Nebraska's leading supplier of propane, you can count on Sapp Brothers to keep your family warm this winter. You're like family. And your safety is the number one priority of Sapp Brothers. When it comes to your propane needs, Sapp Brothers has you covered. Visit www.sappbros.net/petroleum to find your local Sapp Brothers propane expert. Celebrating 50 years of fueling America's heartland and welcoming guests, Sapp Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Husker Athletics.
It's more than a Lincoln, it's your Lincoln. Custom order your next luxury SUV with Woodhouse Lincoln today. Choose from the full range of Lincoln models and curate every detail to your deepest desires. From exterior color down to each accessory, our friendly and knowledgeable sales staff will guide you to your next vehicle. Begin your custom order journey online at woodhouselincoln.com or in store off 144th and Giles Road.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
SOS to the rescue. SOS to the rescue.
As the Huskers head to the seventh inning stretch, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so hot. The air conditioning is out again. SOS, he screams, and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. Call or visit soshvac.com today.
SOS to the rescue.